People have gone to war for many things, or more accurately found an excuse to go to war. One that sounds absurd is that two city-states went to war for a simple wooden bucket. To understand this peculiar war, we must first look at the larger political landscape. Most of medieval Italy was nominally part of the Holy Roman Empire, however cities were in effect independent. The peninsula was divided between two major factions, the Guelphs, who supported the Pope, and the Ghibellines, who backed the Holy Roman Emperor. The Guelph city of Bologna and the Ghibelline city of Modena, located just 25 miles apart, were bitter rivals for decades. They skirmished over borders and influence. The spark that lit the fuse, according to the popular legend, was an act of sheer audacity. In 1325, a group of Modenese soldiers infiltrated Bologna. They made their way to a public well, stole a common oak bucket, and brought it back to Modena as a trophy and prominently displayed it, when the citizens of Bologna discovered the theft. They were not merely annoyed. They were profoundly insulted. They demanded the bucket's return. Modena refused, and so Bologna declared war. Now, while the stolen bucket is the famous catalyst, the real reasons were far more serious. Just before the bucket incident, Modena had captured the key Bolognese fortress of Monteviglio. The bucket theft was likely either a celebration of this victory or a deliberate provocation. The bucket served as a perfect symbol of humiliation, a pretext for a war that was really about power, territory, and ancient hatreds. Bologna assembled a massive force, said to number more than 30,000 men, confident they could crush their smaller rival, but most of them were poorly armed and trained. Modena gathered a much smaller army of about 7,000 men, but it was composed of highly professional German mercenaries. The two forces met at the Battle of Zappolino in November of 1325. Despite being heavily outnumbered, the Modenese soldiers easily routed the Bolognese army. The Modenese chased the fleeing soldiers all the way to the walls of Bologna itself, where they reportedly taunted them by staging a mock tournament. From a well they took a second bucket as spoils. In the aftermath, a peace treaty was signed in 1326. In a twist of irony, the terms were surprisingly mild. Captured territories were returned, and the status quo was largely restored. The bucket, however, was enshrined in Modena as the ultimate trophy of war. They placed it in the high tower of their cathedral, the Ghirlandina. It had been hanging there for many years, however. At some time it was moved to the Palazzo Comunale in Modena, while a copy is hanging in the Ghirlandina. What happened to the second bucket? Probably someone stole it.